On January 1, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln signed a document that changed the course of American history. The Emancipation Proclamation was more than just ink on paper. It was a war strategy, a moral turning point, and a step toward freedom for millions of enslaved people. But what did it really do? And how did it shape the Civil War and the nation we know today? Let's uncover the real story behind the Emancipation Proclamation. By 1860, America was divided. The Southern economy depended on slavery, while Northern states moved toward industrialization, and abolitionist movements were gaining strength. When Abraham Lincoln was elected president, Southern states saw it as a direct threat to their way of life and seceded, forming the Confederacy. The Civil War broke out in April 1861, but at its start, Lincoln's main goal wasn't to end slavery, it was to preserve the Union. As the war dragged on, Lincoln realized that striking at the heart of the Confederacy, its enslaved workforce, could cripple its economy and war effort. It was both a moral and strategic decision. Lincoln issued a preliminary Emancipation Proclamation on September 22, 1862, shortly after the Union's strategic victory at the Battle of Antietam. He declared that if the Confederate States did not return to the Union by January 1, 1863, he would free all enslaved people in those states. It was a bold move, but also a gamble. The final Emancipation Proclamation, signed on New Year's Day 1863, didn't free all enslaved people instantly. It applied only to states in rebellion, leaving slavery untouched in loyal border states. However, it turned the Civil War into a fight for human freedom, not just political unity. The proclamation changed everything. Enslaved people in Confederate territories began fleeing to Union lines, where they were declared free. The Union Army gained hundreds of thousands of new recruits as formerly enslaved men joined the fight. The famous 54th Massachusetts Regiment, one of the first African-American units, became a symbol of courage and sacrifice. It also prevented foreign powers like Britain and France from siding with the Confederacy. Supporting a nation fighting to preserve slavery became politically impossible. Despite its significance, the Emancipation Proclamation had limits. It didn't free enslaved people in border states like Kentucky or Maryland. Many critics argued that Lincoln's decision was more about weakening the South than about moral conviction. Others questioned whether Lincoln even had the constitutional power to issue such an order. But for millions of enslaved men, women, and children, it was a beacon of hope. The proclamation paved the way for the 13th Amendment, which finally abolished slavery nationwide in 1865. The Emancipation Proclamation was more than a wartime decree. It was a turning point in American values. It signaled that freedom and equality were central to the nation's identity. Every January 1st, the anniversary of the proclamation is remembered as a milestone in the struggle for civil rights. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. often spoke of the proclamation as a promise America was still trying to fulfill during the civil rights movement. Even today, its legacy reminds us that freedom is not just granted. It is fought for, defended, and expanded. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't end slavery overnight, but it reshaped the soul of the nation. It turned the Civil War into a battle for freedom and set America on a path toward equality. Its words continue to inspire movements for justice and human rights around the world. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing for more history deep dives. What do you think was the most important impact of the Emancipation Proclamation? Let's talk in the comments below.